If these allegations are proven true or not, Vince McMahon is done. Possibly the name of McMahon will never ever be spoken in a positive light again. But here's the other problem. It's not just how it affects him, it's how it filters down throughout the WWE, who knew what, who knew when, etc, etc, etc. And that could be the ultimate nail in the coffin for everything that we know and love about wrestling. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Creative Business Made Simple, the only show that helps you get from where you are to where you want to be in your business endeavors and beyond. Thank you so much for joining us once again in this special episode with Vince McMahon, the sexual trafficking sort of scandal that's been going on, and alleged crimes. We have been talking so much about this case and how it literally implements in business, lessons that you learn. Obviously, we've been talking about don't conduct business one-on-one in your home if you're a male to a female. It is unprofessional. It is not something that should ever be done or ever conducted. It leaves you vulnerable, specifically if you're a man to a woman. Some people might not like that, but that is the fact. That is the truth. Men are a lot more vulnerable to scandal and allegation because it's oftentimes more believable versus, women to men. We've been talking about how business gross misconduct will not only impact you, but also your family, your friends, your colleagues, your staff, your talent, all of that kind of stuff, and ultimately your business. I've got written down here, it will also literally destroy your legacy. My wife had actually made this very, very good, great point. McMahon had literally spent 50 years of his life and beyond building up WWE, building up his legacy. He took it over from his grandfather, who took it over from his took it over from his father. So you had, 3 lines of McMahon's. Now with Stephanie and Shane when he was involved with WWE, you had 4 lines of McMahon's. McMahon in this incident has really tarnished the name. They will come out of this. They are strong people. They will come out of this. They will succeed in terms of the children and the grandchildren, Shane and Stephanie and the grandchildren and the children. But McMahon himself, and also you got to factor in, his either wife or ex-wife, separated wife, Linda McMahon. The fact that she has been put in this, and she's probably sitting there saying, "Oh, Vince, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And the fact that she was working at one time with Donald Trump. It has a knock-on effect to every single thing that you do. We've talked about a number of things, obviously, in this show, and as we head towards the closing sections of this special, that there are a number of questions that have arisen, questions as to why Vince McMahon, WWE's own Vince McMahon, sold the company. Was it a case that Stephanie, as head writer, in WWE, just couldn't cut it? Was it a case that Triple H, Paul Levesque, who had been, running things in one form or another, basically Vince McMahon's right-hand man, was it a case that he couldn't cut it? He couldn't do the job? I don't believe so. I believe, or I question, it doesn't matter whether I believe it or not, I question as to why the business was sold. Why was it sold to Tony Khan? The Khans basically now own the 2 major wrestling corporations in the world, in AEW, All Elite Wrestling, and the WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. Why was it sold? Why was it sold? Why did Ronda Rousey suddenly, it appears, just leave WWE? Why were a number of people brought back who were released? John Laurinaitis being one. Bruce Pritchard being another. Now, I've seen Bruce Pritchard's show, Something to Wrestle With. I listened to it for a number of years. I tend to get a feeling about a person very quickly. Whether or not this person's someone to be trusted, this person isn't. Jim Cornette basically acquitted Bruce And until something is proven, I follow that line of thought. Because Bruce, to me, he just comes across as a nice, warm, cuddly teddy bear. Now, people will say, well, are you insinuating that he would be beyond, doing anything like that? No, I'm not insinuating any of that, because I firmly believe anybody on the planet has got within them the ability for amazing good, like Mother Teresa, and heinous evil, like Stalin, like Hitler, like, all the other people. That has been part of my argument in many ways when people say, well, just let people be whoever they are. That is the danger. This is, by the looks of it, who Vince McMahon is. Now, he may not have always been like that. That is who Stalin was. That's who Hitler was. That was who Saddam Hussein was. As the facts in the history books go, as much as you're going to believe them. So that's always the dangerous thing. But we're getting off topic. So the big question is, of course, why was the company sold? Was it a case of McMahon getting older, concerned? Why did Stephanie leave? She said she left because, she wanted to spend more time as a mother and her children, and she took a lot of flack for that. She had a lot of heat, which is a term in the wrestling industry for a lot of flack, a lot of hatred. Why did she leave in an industry that she has loved and been passionate about? Was it just to be with her kids? I'm not saying it was. I'm not saying it wasn't. It just raises a really interesting point of view. Obviously, further on down in the report, there are a number of allegations of neglect, emotional distress, gross misconduct. And this is from Stephen P. New, as he reported it as well. It seems to me, in the world that we are living in right now, the most insane acts are taking place. The people who are frankly evil are social media influencers and are reaching hundreds of thousands, if not billions, millions of people every single day, every single week. In our homes, in our children's homes, in private confines, and so on and so on. And they're being celebrated. They're being lauded all over. Hallelujah, hallelujah. And these people are evil. I'm not going to mention names. I don't think it's appropriate to mention names. For legal reasons as well as personal. But also the fact that our heroes, bar a few, have had these things going on. I'm not saying in this world, that we live in that, everybody's squeaky clean, because they're not. But I think it's, that there's a difference between being squeaky clean and doing what this report has said. Obviously, McMahon defecating in this woman's hair, showing and revealing sexual content of this woman to team members, to staff members, basically pimping her out, Brock Lesnar being involved in this. I think categorically, quite honestly, following the... I'm even having a hard time saying this out loud, but I think McMahon, Lesnar, and Laurinaitis are three faces you will not see again in public. I'll be very surprised. McMahon may come out of this and be like, yes, I never did that at all. But the fact that she's got names, dates, again, and if it was fake, because we've had this before, I've experienced this before where, again, my profile was cloned and, inappropriate text messages were sent. That's all been acquitted. If that was the case with McMahon, that he had been, he'd had his phone hacked or whatever it might be, there's enough people out there that can sort that and prove, based on the HTTP address or the IP address, that he didn't do that. So it doesn't look good for McMahon. It really doesn't look good for McMahon. The final point that I've got here with regards to this, well, I've actually 2 points, and I want to further what Eric Bischoff had said. He hopes and prays that this girl will find help that she needs, the peace that she needs. Because again, remember, she's lost her mum and dad. She's lost her family. She had no job. She has gone through heinous torture. I mean, to have your hair excreted in while you're having sexual intercourse, to be pimped out basically to the highest bidder because you're given 200,000 a year. And she's a young woman. She's 21 years old. Some reports are saying, other reports are saying, you know, older. But she's a young woman, emotionally distraught. I agree with Bischoff, the fact that I hope and pray she finds peace. I hope and pray that she finds the help that she needs, the counselling that she needs, the support that she needs through this, because the horrible thing, it's not even the unfortunate thing, the absolute horrible, heinous thing that goes along with this, and anybody that's been in this before, that's ever had this level of abuse, is that the memories stay with you. The acts stay with you, you know, the conversation stays with you. And the best thing, quite honestly, I think would be to leave the United States. That's my personal view. You know, when all this is done and dusted, because it's not just going to go away. The next stage will be, as I said, you know, Stephen P. New had said, try that again. McMahon will be served 20 days from when the report was filed, which was, I think, on Sunday night, maybe Monday. McMahon will be filed. If they can't locate him, then they can basically extend the period. The final point that I have on this is the stuff McMahon allowed on his TV show, Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and the pay-per-views. It's a wrestling company. And on there we have seen live sex celebrations between Edge, Adam Copeland, and Lita, Amy DeMar. We've seen Trish Stratus have to degrade herself, roll around the ring, crawl around the ring, and bark like a dog in her trousers and bra. We've seen, again, Eric Bischoff have to kiss Stephanie McMahon, the daughter of Vince McMahon. We've seen Kurt Angle have to kiss, you know, Stephanie McMahon, daughter of Vince McMahon. We've seen Eric Bischoff end up kissing Linda McMahon for a TV show. With acts like this, you begin to wonder. There was also, again, you know, and Bischoff talks about this in his in his live show and also in others. It's you know, historical wrestling evidence, I guess you'd say. But the segment in Monday Night Raw, which was a live, or what was it, live lesbian HLA, hot lesbian action, where you basically have two women come into the ring and snog for 30 seconds or whatever, kiss emotionally, passionately. There's a lot to this case that I still could unpack. The stuff that he allowed on his TV, Bret Hart said back in 1997, who was a former employee of McMahon's, was basically run out of the business in 1997 for a long period of time. It'd be interesting to know what Bret Hart thinks about this. But Bret had actually said, you know, you don't watch wrestling for sex. And it had become very sexual back in 97. You know, now where we're at in 2024, you know, January 31st, just heading into February 2024, this stuff isn't acceptable anymore. You know, if it's in the private confines of somebody's home and both parties or multiple parties are in agreement to it, that's one thing. The act itself is still heinous, is still barbaric, is still really, really messed up. And if you're into that kind of thing, you know, and you say, oh, well, what does it matter? It matters a massive amount. Because you're using your dominance over somebody else. to get off, essentially. And you're making someone else submissive. Now, people enjoy that, and there's, all sorts of things that go along with that. That's a whole nother topic for a whole different show. We've talked about that on other shows, on other YouTube platforms. I think what it comes down to, again, dealing with the facts, is this just doesn't go away. Now that it's out in the public stratosphere, the WWE universe knows about it. The fact as well that on Friday Night SmackDown, after this had leaked all over, the conversations have been going out, WWE allowed McMahon to come out to ring the bell, to whether it's a final farewell. Stephanie led them in a, thank you, Vince chant, knowing that this had taken place. It is going to be really interesting over the next weeks, months, the coming, period of time, how this develops. As Eric Bischoff said, and I think Eric actually is one of the wisest people. And I know Laurie, for those of you who don't know and follow us on social media, Laurie Bischoff, his wife, and I are actually in business together with Teen Life Coaching. Neither one of us are in the wrestling industry. I'll sort of, just confirm that. And neither is Eric Bischoff. So we are looking at this from outside observers, basically. But as Eric said, we will get through this. This has been a direct lesson on what not to do in business. Okay? If you are so emotionally unstable that you are sending these kind of text messages, then get help. There's a number of organizations out there that can help you. If you are in this level of business and you're sending these kind of text messages, performing these kind of acts, I think the best thing that you could do, fade away into the distance, fade away into the shadows, fade into the night quietly. Nobody needs to know where you've gone. Nobody needs to, anything else. And it's not literally, it's what we call crisis management for those of watching that are appalled by what I'm saying is well, what, don't you think he deserves to be brought to justice? Yes. If somebody is unwilling and you're performing these kind of acts and somebody's unwilling, it's a criminal offence. If two parties are willing, and this still needs to be determined, if two parties are willing or more, two or more parties are willing, it's not a criminal offence. Either way, and we're just about out of time, so either way, what it comes down to is this. It has been diagnosed, it's not been diagnosed, it's been undiagnosed, but suspected that Vince McMahon has changed. Cornette has said that. Eric Bischoff has more or less said that he is shocked and just sickened by the whole thing. There is still questions whether it's brain damage, whether it's dementia, whether it's, unprotected chair shots. And in the wrestling world, some of you guys and girls listen to this in business will be like, these guys are hitting themselves over the head with chairs. Yes, it is stage choreography, but the chair shots are as real gets. It's not fake. They try and do it in a safe way, but the chair shots to the head, that's part of the reason you don't see them that often anymore, because there's been so many questions and concussions and possible leading to dementia and all sorts of other things. The human skull is not designed to take a chair shot to the head, and it hurts. So I think really where we're at now, from what Stephen P. New had alluded to and more or less said himself, is if this continues, it's what's called the discovery phase. I wrote down this discovery process where everything is brought forward. And what that means, just as we get ready to round up the show, is that text messages will be brought forward. McMahon's place was seized, I believe, by the CIA. And I think that was in last year. His phone was seized. They raided his home or his apartment and everything else. This isn't just, child's play, for lack of a better term. This is serious stuff. So, yeah, the text message will be brought forward. Also, communication between other members of staff and McMahon's employ and WWE's employ and any other business that McMahon has had affiliation with will also be brought forward. A lot of people will be asked to testify. McMahon employs, I was saying this to Katie the other night, that Katie's my wife, in case you're just catching up. But literally, McMahon employs a vast sea of wrestlers, and I almost think too many now. If they had involvement directly with McMahon, they will be questioned. This is not just going to be a quick fix. This could be up there, with the 96 famous sports professional whose name's literally just gone from my mind. But literally, it's not just going to go away. This is something that is going to be around for a while, and as it does and it develops, we'll obviously keep you updated. Because I think, as I said, to end this on a positive, there are a lot of lessons that you can learn on how not to do business by watching other people. And as we've talked about, don't put yourself in vulnerable positions. If you feel like you're in a vulnerable position, bring other people into the conversation. Make sure that it's on work's time. Make sure that you are doing everything legally and professionally. Don't put skeletons in your closet. If you're literally sitting there, if you're sitting there now saying, gosh, I did this, I had this conversation with someone 10, 15 years ago, 10, 15 minutes ago, 10, 15 months ago, and there is evidence out there that this was not mutually agreed upon, find a way to make it go away. Whatever you need to do, okay? Give yourself a second chance. Crisis management as well means that when you have screwed up, and it happens to the best of us, the Ultimate Warrior, Jim Hellwig, was giving lectures in universities. He was one of McMahon's employees back in the 80s and 90s and mid-90s. And he was giving out lectures, and he said something really foolish inside a university that blew up all over. I think it was all over the news before the time of internet as we have it now. But it blew up all over the place. And he had to apologize for this. He had to apologize a number of times. It's called crisis management. You deal with it in the best way possible. And when it's involving your family, remember that there is no smoke without fire, but ultimately that fire is going to filter down not just into your, adult children, but also into the little ones as well. They're in school. They're in college. They're in university. Life is hard enough without you doing that. And I pray for his grandchildren specifically that people will get around them and support them and realize, look, your granddad did this, your grandfather did this. It's not a reflection on you. I hope that's the case. Folks, I welcome thoughts, educated opinions, so please don't just post any nonsense on the comment section. But I welcome them. I really do. Do your research. Find out what you can about it. It's a really interesting case for sure, both from a psychological point of view, but also from a professional and business point of view, and one that we certainly haven't heard the last of. And if you've enjoyed this episode and have your own comments, as I say, do get in touch. You can comment section below, reach out to us on social media. We'd love to hear from you, and if there's anything we can do to help your business get from where it is to where you want it to be, then do reach out to us in the link in the comment section below, and we'll you know what to do, all that good stuff. Yeah, it's not fun talking about this stuff. It's interesting from a professional point of view to do the research and everything, but it almost seems like something out of a horrific novel. And yeah, it's tragic, and unfortunately, some of our heroes that we love and have beloved for many years, to do this, and that's part of the reason that I look at it from the psychological point of view as well. It's not to excuse anybody's behavior, but it is to understand how somebody who is an on-air personality, who's an on-air, you know, character and everything, could do something like this, could behave in this way. You almost feel betrayed. It's like, was this there all the time? And has this just now manifested? Or was this something that, you know, who knows? Thank you so much for watching. Do check out our daily blog as well at Creative Business Made Simple. You'll be able to find that. Just type in Creative Business Made Simple John Morris. You'll find me all over the place. And until next time, take care. God bless. And look after one another. And I'll see you in the next video.